important about it is that if you can just address it head on, you'll find your way into a relationship with a broker who long term has your best interest at their heart. The second reason, though, that people don't use these, first is the avoidance factor, and then there's the convenience factor. So, for example, the television markets to those emotions. So it's just like anything else. If you're on the couch, October's coming, right? So in Medicare, there's going to be commercials galore, and it's convenient.
Do you have a favorite commercial?
Uh,
They're all entertaining.
They're all pretty good. They're
Yeah.
all pretty good.
I mean, we all see the Joe
So-
Namath ones.
So it's nice to just
Do you
grab.
think that Joe Namath, when he was playing football, was like, man, I hope when I grow up that I retire and start doing Medicare commercials?
I doubt that.
I doubt that too.
I doubt that. But
Okay.
he's done a lot of them.
But he has done a lot of them.
And there's been a lot of talk about that. But anyway, so I think that those reasons make it appealing and natural for us to just call a number and make a phone call. Here's the problem with that, is that healthcare, unlike other forms of insurance, is still done very regionally, right? If we're talking networks, the networks, even in the same state, different. The networks here, the hospital networks, provider networks in Winston-Salem, and are going to be different than kind of the Raleigh area or Charlotte or the coast or Western state. And then each state is different. So when you call a number on the TV, you're going to a call center somewhere of a licensed agent who has certified and is doing all the things. But they're probably not regional, first of all. And it does matter, as you know, right? As an agent working with people, it does matter. Secondly, your local agent does not cost you any money to have a local agent.
And that's a really good point. I want to touch on that for a second.
And they're on your side all the time.
All the time. Well, you hope, right? I mean, because there are some shady agents out there, which is why you've got to make sure you work with a good one. And so
like Jill.
So I just referred to myself in third person. Anyway, so that's the thing, is I think that it's really important to know that, because I have had a client call me and she said, hey, I'd like to work with you. I signed up for this other health insurance and it was just abominable. And now I need help. And how much do you charge me? Because the other person charged me $500.
Oh, are you serious?
What do you say to that?
I just said it. Are you serious?
Run.
That's crazy. That should not happen.
I think that's another reason why you work with someone local too.
Yeah, I mean it helps. I'll be straight up with you.
That person was over that person who they contacted was over the phone.
Yeah. So there's something to be said for that human interaction, right? The other thing is just, I know that the years that I was helping with Medicare enrollments, those people, I connected with them. And I still have long-term relationships with these people.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a problem, they can call me. I have them in my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
They can call me after 5.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a claim on the weekend, they fall off of a ladder, they can't get answers. You're talking about big systems. The healthcare system is big, exhaustingly complex. Same with insurance and Medicare, right? You have all of these systems. So it helps to have somebody that you can contact, that who is embedded in that space, that can sit on your side of the desk and help you in those situations. So you can only get that with a local agent. And again, it doesn't cost you anything to have that. And it's never $500.
Yeah. Do you think that folks may look up information and then say, well, I can just do this on my own. I'll just go ahead and go online and do it?
Yeah, that does happen.
What would you say is the problem with that?
I don't guess there's too much of a problem with that if you're confident and you're educated and you understand how plans work, the different types of networks, different types of plans, co-pays, co-insurance, deductibles, yada yada. If you maybe let's say you come from an HR arena or you've worked for a long time, fine, you're there. However, again, without a local agent, you don't have an advocate. on your behalf, that can help when it matters. Okay. So most of the time we're just living our lives, but it matters when it matters. So even I would still recommend to that person, let's say you know this stuff through and through, it still is worthwhile to call your local agent and say, hey, I've done my research. I know what I'm talking about. What do you think of this? And will you be my agent or something like that? You know,
Right.
because you have somebody on your side that can help you. I just don't like going it alone against these big systems. I don't have you ever had to file a claim or deal with a claim or deal with getting things approved and stuff like that? It's annoying as the insured party. And you're in the hot seat. Maybe you're sick at the moment or something like that. So it's nice to have someone you can call and say, "Oh my gosh, this is driving me crazy." And then your agent can take over and say, "Well, let me make those phone calls. Let me figure this out." And they're your agent of record. They can help.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that's so important too, is to make sure that you do have an agent who will go to bat for you and help you out. And I'm like you, Damon. I get really attached to a lot of the clients that I
Mhm.
have, and I know you do too. And you have gone to bat for some of your clients, and so I actually want to press on you, or ask you more about those questions about how you've gone to bat and what you've done in the
Mm.
past and what's happened. And so I want you all to stay tuned. We're going to ask Damon some more questions. You are listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We so appreciate you listening. Stay tuned.
The WSJS High School Football Game of the Week.
Our standard, our expectation.
Presented by the law offices of Timothy D. Wellborn, East Coast Wings and Grill, and Riddle Tractor.
Every play matters. Every moment matters.
Tomorrow night, the Dudley Panthers visit the Falcons of Southeast Guilford.
That's what I'm talking about.
Pregame starts at 7, kickoff at 7:30.
We going hard today.
It's the High School Football Game of the Week on WSJS.
They can't stop us. Yeah!
Crossroads Ford of Kernersville makes it so easy to buy a new Ford. No games and no gimmicks. Crossroads has the best selection and the best prices in the Triad on new Ford cars, Ford trucks, Ford SUVs, and certified pre-owned vehicles. Know what else is so easy? It's scheduling your vehicle service. You can visit their website today, check out the great service specials they've got, and book your appointment. You can also tour the inventory, get a quote, apply for financing online. Crossroads Ford of Kernersville, right off I-40, exit 203. They make it so easy.
Past the 20, 15, into the clear, 10-5, and touchdown! Touchdown, Wake Forest!
Wake Forest football returns to Deeptown for opening night, presented by a Legacy Federal Credit Union. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock on Thursday, August 31st from a Legacy Stadium. Limited tickets are still available. Order yours today at godeeks.com/tickets. We'll see you at a Legacy Stadium on August 31st as the Deeks take on Elon. Go Deeks!
A toast to our new college grad who fills us with so much joy, almost as much as when we're in our RV. Oh, the world is your oyster, kiddo, and ours too. Now that we're covered with Progressive, Dad and I can hop in our RV anytime we want. Might even splurge on a retractable awning. Ooh, look out. Sorry, what was I talking about?
Protect your loved one with an RV policy from Progressive. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need. Indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign. And we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
When you order food for work on EasyCater.com, we've got your back. Real humans are here to help with your order every step of the way, making sure everything goes right, even behind the scenes without you knowing, confirming and double confirming with the restaurant that everything is on track. If there's a problem,
Thanks for calling EasyCater.
Call us anytime, day or night, and we'll answer in seconds. We're right here with 100,000 restaurants, working hard to ensure the food arrives on time and is ordered. Order 24/7 at EasyCater.com.
Hey, kids!
Good morning. Good morning.
And now...
Good morning from Jeffrey Griffin on Triad Today.
And welcome back. I'm Jill Nelson. You are listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over the air online at WSJS.com or on my website, RSVP65.com. And you can email me, Jill at RSVP65.com. I actually chose that name because it's just so easy to remember. Okay, so we are here with Damon Logan, and we are talking about why you should contact your local broker, which, by the way, if you want to contact me, it's Jill at RSVP65.com is my email. And let me say this about Damon. He is the kind of guy who goes above and beyond. And he has a story for us about a client. And this is just a perfect example of why you should always work with a local broker. So you had a client who called you. They were at the doctor
Recently.
Yeah. And they go to check out and their bill is what? Something like $700?
11.
Oh my gosh.
$1,100.
But what doctor were they at?
It was a
Eye doctor.
eye doctor. Thank you. I can't speak.
Yeah. So they go and they're going to check out the eye doctor, which $1,100. I mean, that's pretty shocking no matter what kind of doctor you go to.
Yeah.
All right. So what happens?
Well, they're on what we call the Medicare Advantage plan. So there's a bunch of different Medicare Advantage plans, and the Medicare Advantage plans have different types of vision, hearing, and dental benefits that Medicare doesn't otherwise cover. So she calls me and says, "This sounds crazy. I thought that this was covered under my plan."
I would have been in tears and been like, I don't need different eye drops right now.
It was frustrating. It was frustrating. And so, she called me on my cell phone, and says, "Hey, this is what's going on. What's happening?" And it turned out they weren't processing it properly. We caught that at the point of sale. The exam wasn't being paid for, the frames, the lenses, all of these things. She did have to end up paying some that wasn't covered, but we were able to knock that bill way down. It should have happened automatically, but there were just some errors in the processing of it on the front side, right there at checkout. And again, local agent, you were able to just call me, text me, I don't care. And then we just started asking questions, and we had the problem fixed before she left. Now think about that without using a local broker.
Right.
You're now having to call into the machine and press 1 for this and press 2 for this.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's before 5 and not on a weekend and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So we were able to catch it right there. And she was savvy enough and knew quick enough to say, something's off here. I better call Damon.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
You get that. I need to call Jill. Right.
Yeah.
And you have to correct. These systems are so huge. There's mistakes and errors that happen all the time.
Yeah.
It just helps to have somebody there that knows the process, can speak the language,
Yeah.
and can go to bat for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you brought up Medicare Advantage plans, and tell us a little bit about that, because what happens because open enrollment's coming in October, and folks we can start to give them all the true details of the 2024 plan starting October 1st. We're not allowed to prior to. But tell me this. If someone is happy on their plan, they don't want to change, why should they still contact a local broker?
Because the plan that they had last year is not the plan they're going to get.
Okay, explain that to me.
So each plan, every Medicare Advantage plan changes every single year. Every one. And there's thousands of them out there across the country. So just always remember that these are annual plans. A lot of times people will get a plan, and if it's not broke, you don't
fix it.
You don't fix it if it ain't broke. but what ends up happening is it matters when it matters. So for example, and you're locked in. So if you don't check your plan, it's not broke, don't fix it. But next year, you have to go see a certain provider that you saw. What if they're not in network? Well, you didn't know that because they left the network the year prior. Maybe one of your medications changed from a medication that was very affordable, and maybe it moved to not quite as affordable. Those are just a couple of things. Not to mention other plans that are out there. They're competing for you, and they want to. Maybe some will give you more benefits at the eye doctor, for example. These are all things that talking to a local broker at least once a year is good. It's kind of standard practice. Not everybody does it because your insurance just runs on the background, right? You go do your physical. If you're not sick, you don't have to deal with any chronic illness or anything. And so 1 year, 2 years, 3 years goes by because time flies really fast. And you think you're on the same plan that you got 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
But you're not.
but you're not.
Right.
And like I said, it matters when it matters.
And
So
I've-
just have that conversation once a year. Sorry.
I've actually had clients who I go and see them and they're still carrying the same card from 2 years prior.
Yeah.
And then I also tell clients too, the people who get the most maximum benefits are the ones who don't remain stagnant. So
That's true. I agree with that.
You've got to come back in and keep checking to make sure that what you're on is still good for you.
And that's a key. Sometimes it is, isn't it?
And there are a lot of times it's exactly what I was going to say.
Sometimes it's like you just need to stay right on that plan.
You
It's
are perfect where you're at.
You get
We're
the
good to
golden
go.
thumbs up. Yeah, that's right. That's
You're
right.
one step ahead of the game.
Yep.
Now we can talk about more fun stuff like your dog that's been, bodying on my shoe the whole time. It's adorable. How old is he? Did you rescue him?
Yeah.
How'd you come up with the name Skippy? Anyway, so I also, I think it's really, but I tell people too, I'm 40 and no, I'm not. I'm 40. I'm 41 or 42. I can't remember. Anyway, but don't be like me. I get set in my ways already. So, check in and make sure that your plan is still good. And I think it really is so important. And I think a lot of times too that I have seen couples who want to be on the same plans. Have you seen that?
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
As long as it works. I mean, ultimately, they're going to be the ones that choose the plan they want. As a broker, we have that luxury. We're not captive agents. We're not being paid by an insurance company to solicit that product. So we're open fundamentally, philosophy and every other way to put you in whatever you want to be put in. But yes, some couples want to just have the same exact plan, and absolutely they can. I think our job, right? Our professional obligation is to show them that sometimes the plan for you is not the same plan that you should have. But if you want to have the same plan and it's more convenient, go for it. I don't have it.
I'll tell couples who are on the same plan. All right, now you guys got to check in with each other, make sure each person's getting the benefit.
Yep.
And those who are not, I say, all right, now you guys got to compete and see who gets the better plan. And then
there you go.
We'll switch it next year. All right. Well, Damon, thank you so much for being in here. We
Absolutely.
really appreciate all your tips. Stay tuned. We have our hero segment coming up.
Good morning, High Point, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and all the Triad. Stay tuned for the news you can use right here on WSJS. The Triad's leader, providing news, sports, and weather updates at the top and bottom of the hour. Your next updates are here in less than a minute and are brought to you by our friends at Mercedes-Benz of Winston-Salem, heavily invested in the community for over 50 years. Now, let's get started.
Mercedes-Benz of Winston-Salem doesn't want families settling for another luxury SUV that fails to set the benchmark. Let exceptional enter your everyday with the performance of the all-new GLC 300, a reliable, safe SUV great for your family. The athletic and luxurious Mercedes-Benz GLC continues to stay ahead of the midsize SUV class. Find out why. Visit them today and see your new GLC 300 in action. Mercedes-Benz of Winston-Salem, heavily invested in the community over 50 years.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Well, they're off and running. 8 Republican presidential candidates sharing the stage in Milwaukee last night, appearing before a packed house of thousands of spectators. Among the issues debated last night, abortion, the economy, and Ukraine. 6 of the 8 candidates pledged to support former President Trump should he be the GOP nominee. Christie and Hutchinson did not pledge their support for the former president. An alliance of countries aligned against the West is growing. Iran and Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE will be joining the so-called BRICS group of nations. A Moscow court authorizing the ongoing detention of Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich through the end of November. He is accused of espionage, charges he, his family, his employer, and the U.S. government all deny. On Wall Street, the Dow opening 4 points higher. More details, srnnews.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
With SRN Sports, I'm Michael Harrington. We're going to start with Major League Baseball and American League action. The Red Sox pulled out a big win last night in Houston.
Adam Duvall's 10th inning 3-run homer helped the Red Sox to a 7-5 win over the Astros. Duvall finished the game with 2 hits, and he has now homered in 3 straight games. Trevor Story and Alex Verdugo collected 2 hits for the Red Sox, whose bullpen allowed 1 unearned run over 5 innings. Martin Maldonado hit a 2-run homer for the Astros.
That's correspondent Adam Spillane. Elsewhere on the junior circuit yesterday, the White Sox edged Seattle 5-4, Royals 4, A's nothing, and the Orioles over Toronto 7-0. In the National League, it was the Cardinals beating Pittsburgh 6-4 yesterday, while Miami was blanked by the Padres 4-0. Giants 8, Phillies 6. Atlanta got the better of the Mets by a 7-0 score. Interleague play, Cubs over Detroit 6-4. This is SRN Sports.
Piedmont Triad area weather, low 90s for the afternoon high today. We have high pressure overhead, so we'll get sunshine. We do have a slim chance of a shower or thunderstorm this evening, partly cloudy overnight and down to a low of 70. Heat and humidity coming up on Friday. Sunny, we're in the upper 90s on the air temperature. The heat index about 105. We may get a few showers over the upcoming weekend, and it will be a little bit cooler. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton for News Talk Sports for the Triad WSJS.
It's the Tour Championship from historic East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta, Georgia.
Takes another birdie from the par 5-6.
Today through Sunday, WSJS hits the links with Tour Championship golf updates from CBS Sports. Limitless updates made possible by Limitless Cards, your golf card superstore in Winston-Salem. Buy your golf cart this month and get a free soundbar, a $500 value.
Oh, yes, it's another beauty.
Tour Championship golf updates. Clubbing at its best.
The crown belongs to Charlotte. Bend the knee to the Queen City. Charlotte FC returns to the bank Saturday, August 26th and Wednesday, August 30th. That's back-to-back home games. Great seats are still available at charlottefootballclub.com. The boys in blue are ready for you, so join the party as they face LAFC and Orlando City FC. Get your tickets today at charlottefootballclub.com, and we'll see you at the bank.
Jeffrey Griffin with Triad today on WSJS.
And welcome back. I'm Jill Nelson, and you are listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over the air online at WSJS.com or on my website, RSVP65.com, or on my Facebook page. And if you're new to the show, I'm your licensed health insurance broker. You can email me with your questions, Jill@rsvp65.com. And now to my favorite part of the show, Jill's Heroes. And here I get to highlight heroes who make a difference. And this gentleman that I have here, Larry Kirby, he is one special guy. He was the village manager in Clemens for 28 and a half years. He's been a part of the Clemens Fire Department and still is for over 50 years. He has 2 kids, 14 grandkids, 2 great grandchildren, and he always sends me a message on Sunday saying, I'm praying for you. And that has just been something that has really stood out for me because him and his wife, Diane, are just the sweetest couple. And Diane said, Larry goes downstairs on Sundays and he sits at the table and he prays. And there's a list of people he prays for, and you're one of them. And that is just been something that has been touching to me. And sometimes, it has been one of those things where, we all have our ups and downs and, life can feel sideways. And sometimes just knowing someone is out there who cares and praying for you is just one of those things that kind of gets you through that day. And Larry, you've been that for me.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful for that and those things that you have done. And I could get teary, but I'm not gonna do it. So but I want to talk about you. And you have such a servant's heart. Where do you get this from?
I inherited it from my father.
Tell us about your dad.
My dad served in World War II. He was in the military for 22 years. He was injured the second year he was in the military. And in those days, unless you were injured seriously, you didn't get a medical discharge.
Oh, wow.
So they sent Dad back to the States, sent him to med school, and he became what in today's light is called a PA. And he worked on a ship in the ocean, taking our soldiers and helping the doctors operate on them and bring them back so they could be shipped home. And then after he finished that, he came back and was a treasury agent for the federal government. And actually his main job was to look for moonshiners in East Tennessee.
Oh.
And he did that for many years till he finally retired from the feds and went to work for the local police department as a training officer.
Okay. And so then what was that like growing up with your dad, a dad like that for you as a little boy?
Well, it was exciting for me. I'm 9 years older than one sister and 16 years older than the other. So I got to hear a lot of stuff they didn't hear. But some of the things Dad got into and his partner got into were unique and very enjoyable to listen to. Some great stories that he shared with me over the years.
How did you decide to become the village manager of Clemens?
It was actually a unique opportunity. I went to the village of Clemens to install the sewer system.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I was hired for. I worked that for about 2 years, and the city manager that we had at that time resigned,
Mm-hmm.
take another job. They brought on a gentleman by the name of Al Dillon.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Dillon was still active in the military himself at that time,
Mm-hmm.
had to travel quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point in time, he got the council to appoint me as his assistant city manager.
Mm-hmm.
And
I never knew that.
And we worked together for many years. And a lot of things went on. And then we had some good mayors and we had some so-so mayors.
Mm-hmm.
But we had one of the youngest mayors.
As city council tends to do.
We had one of the youngest mayors in North Carolina at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me one day and wanted to have lunch. And I said, okay. And so he indicated that he was pretty sure that the current city manager was going to be leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And he recommended that I take the job.
Mhm.
And I believe my exact words was, "I really don't want it."
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But at his insistence, I took it and finished out my time with the town until I retired as city manager.
Now, as mayors come and go, you remained. Did you find that they kept coming to you and asking for advice? How did this happen? What did you do before? Or were there maybe some who did, and then some who just, felt like they knew it all? We don't need to name names or anything like that, but I'm just saying, I bet it's interesting, who's come to you, and they rightfully should come and ask since you have so much experience. But I just wanted to know what that's like for you.
Most of the
Kind of like
city
a
managers,
behind the scenes look.
most of the city managers, most of the mayors were had gone to training and were well prepared for their job.
Mhm.
Many of them had no idea as to what it took on a day-to-day to
Yeah.
run a town
Yeah, right.
and keep everybody out of trouble.
Mhm.
But most of them were very easy to work with. We had a couple that I've probably got a 12-year-old grandson that could have done a better job, but you know how it is. But I had the young young mayor that I was talking about earlier. He's always teased me about running meetings because he said when the meeting started slowing down and we wasn't making any productivity, he said you would look at me and say, "Mayor, it's time to move on to the next subject." And
Is that how you conduct your grandchildren?
no, they conduct me.
I bet. So you're also really active in the Clemens Fire Department. Tell us about what was it about the fire department that made you so interested in helping out and volunteering for now over 50 years?
When my wife and I moved to North Carolina, we moved to Greensboro.
Mhm.
And I met a gentleman in the job I had at that time that was a lieutenant in the Pinecroft Sedgefield Fire Department. And he talked me into going to school at Guilford Tech and getting my certifications and joining Pinecroft Sedgefield. Now, this won't make a lot of sense to you and may not to some of your listeners, but that was so far back in history that only the fire chief and only the first out engine had a radio.
Mhm.
The rest of the trucks didn't have communication.
Oh my gosh.
And so we carried a little box in the front seat in the first out engine, and it had little 1 ounce bags in it with flour in them.
Mhm.
And when you got to an intersection and that you had to turn right or left, you threw one of the bags out to the left or to the right so that it would burst in the roadway, and the next trucks coming would know where you turned.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
So that shows you how old I am.
No, I think that's amazing.
Left there, came to Clemens and started out with South Fork Fire Department, and then they merged with Clemens and moved to Clemens. And it's been a great thing. You hear on television about these fire departments, and one of the big things is that they're family. Well, just to show you how dedicated that family is, we recently had one of our newer firefighters got injured.
Mm.
It was a serious injury, and it could have been life-threatening.
Mhm.
Well, he, besides being a full-time firefighter, also owns his own business.
Mm.
The day after he entered the hospital from his accident, he has a lawn mowing service. But at that time, we had just got a new fire chief. Our old chief, after 52 years, had retired.
Mhm.
Both fire chiefs and all of his shift and most all of us volunteers showed up, and we worked his landscaping business until he got well.
Wow.
And even though he offered to pay all of us, we never took a dime because that was our responsibility to take care of our brother.
That's amazing. And, I feel like that's something that is so important, especially in today's world, all after COVID is, having that family and that brotherhood. It's that connectivity with others and folks. It's vital.
It is.
It really is.
Now, let me tell you one more.
Okay. Before you do that, you got to wait because we got to cut to commercial break. So tease the listeners. What can they expect coming up after the commercial?
A real dedicated brother.
Ooh, okay. A real dedicated brother. You guys are going to want to stay tuned for this story. And you're going to want to find out who is Mr. Kirby's favorite superhero. You're listening to The Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad.
This is Todd Stearns, and I'm so happy to have you be a part of the Todd Stearns Show family in the Triad.
It's informative, great information.
He knows his audience. He knows what's going on politically.
Each weekday, we've got you covered with the latest on politics, faith, and culture news, along with the top newsmakers and your calls.
He's got all this information, and he's happy to share it.
Oh, man, I love it.
So join me today at 12 noon on your home for the Todd Stearns Show. News, talk, sports for the Triad. WSJS.
The Freaks on Parade Tour returns. Zombie, Cooper, Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, together live. August 29th, Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Raleigh, with special guests, Ministry and Filter. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. The Freaks on Parade Super Tour, part of the Mattress Warehouse concert series.
Honey, the garage door is making this weird noise.
Precision Garage Door, your local experts, they can spot these type of issues that you might not be able to see. Just like anything mechanical, your garage door might start making some noises, and you're better off finding out what is causing that noise. Precision Garage Door has free service calls with any repair. They can make your garage door run smoothly in a single day. Your garage door should make your life easier. Schedule your appointment today, PrecisionDoorNC.com.
Mayflower 2 in Rural Hall. It's easy to get to right off Highway 52, exit 118 on the edge of Winston-Salem. You'll find the very best seafood with shrimp, flounder, oysters, crab legs. Don't forget the hush puppies, plus delicious steaks, teriyaki chicken, burgers, salads, and more. Everything made fresh on site. Plus, be sure to take advantage of the family-friendly pricing with the kids menu. Outstanding service open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday at the Mayflower 2 in Rural Hall.
Do you want quality that you can stand on? Then you gotta go see Jesse and Catherine over at Heritage Hardwood Floors in Winston-Salem. With 25 years of experience, they can take care of all of your flooring needs. Refinishing your existing floors, starting from scratch, residential or commercial jobs. They do gym floors and they've got carpeting. Their selection is truly unrivaled. With their commitment to their customer service, it is very easy to see why at Heritage Hardwood Floors, when it comes to flooring, they have no ceiling. Get more information at heritagehardwoodfloors.ws.
Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. For a limited time, buy one, get one 50% off on select interior and exterior paints and exterior stains via Lowe's gift card rebate. And the savings don't stop there. Save on select 3-quart mums. Right now, just 2 for $12. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/30. Mums offer in-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last. More terms and exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.
Good morning. It's Triad Today with Jeffrey Griffin.
And welcome back. I'm Jill Nelson. You're listening to The Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. And you can email me, your licensed health insurance broker, jill@rsvp65.com. All right. So we are talking to our hero, Larry Kirby, on the Jill's Hero segment. And we left right before commercial break, and we were talking about how the fire department has a brotherhood. And you were about to tell us about a story to confirm that. So tell us, we want to hear this one more story about the brotherhood and how you guys are just all so close knit.
My mother died recently at 95 years of age. It's 4 hours from the Clemens area to my home where she was buried.
I'm so sorry.
And I was standing there in line with the rest of my family, and my wife punched me on the shoulder, and I turned around, and there were firefighters from Clemens. They had taken their days off and drove 8 hours just to see me for 20 minutes. That's the kind of dedication that these folks have. in their blood, in their training from their parents about their religion and the faith that it takes to make things work and let people know you care.
What is it about the fire department that makes that just breeds that dedication to one another?
Well, you are taught from day one that your brother or sister that's lying beside you fighting a fire in a home, warehouse, wherever it may be, is your number one responsibility. So if that person's going to drag you out to save your life, or you're going to drag them out, you become pretty close.
Yeah.
Because they are your lifeline to be rescued.
Survival. Right. All right. So I do have a question for you. We always ask on the Jill's Hero segment, who is your favorite superhero?
Well, I could name a lot.
It's a tough question.
But one person sticks out in my mind as being there for me when it was good times, bad times, almost fighting times, but yet was always there. And that was Chief Jerry Brooks.
Oh, Chief Brooks. He's amazing. Tell us a little bit about Chief Brooks.
Well, he was with Clemens Fire Department for 58 or 9 years,
Mm-hmm.
best my memory serves me.
Mm-hmm.
He was chief of them for 52.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry was
so well respected.
Jerry was someone who believed that our job was not only to put out fires, but to make sure that when we left there, the citizens that we were serving were well taken care of, were prepared for their next day, excuse me, knew who to contact to get help for themselves. And he treated us the same way. When he had to discipline us, he disciplined us. When he had to brag on us, he bragged on us. When you needed him, he was always there.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the few chiefs in all those years that I can't ever remember him taking a full week's vacation.
And he would never brag on himself. He would always just say, I'm one spoke in the wheel.
Most humble person you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, he was a good one. And, I feel like he was one of those people where you were just, around him and he would you just left feeling positive, wouldn't you? And, I think a lot of people feel that way about you too, Larry. Even, you'll just go do stuff even for your neighbors randomly. I remember Diane telling me that. What are some of the things that you do?
Oh, I had a lady call me here just recently. She bought a new home, and she had broken the handrail was broken going down the stairs to the driveway, and it was wrought iron. And she called a company in Winston-Salem, and they came out and told her it cost about $1,200 to fix it. And she called me and asked me if I knew the company, which I did. She asked me if I thought that was a fair price, and I said, no, ma'am. And she says, well, who can I get to do it? I said, I just wouldn't worry about it. It'll get fixed. And so after buying a $25 piece of steel and some welding rods and what have you, I welded it back for her and put it back in.
Oh, that was so sweet. And, little things like that go a long way. They really do.
The Bible says we're supposed to take care of the women and the children, and I don't think we should do anything differently.
Well, we want to recognize you here. This is the Jill Nelson's Hero Award, and we at WSJS and RSVP 65 Health Insurance are proud to recognize you, Larry Kirby, as a hero of our community. And we are so grateful for all that you do and give back. And we are just really grateful for just promoting all that positivity in the community. It's noticed, and we're just thank you for all of it.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I'm going to end with a positive quote. It is from the Dalai Lama. In order to carry a positive action, we must develop here a positive vision, which is so important. And of course, Larry lives that every day. Try to live up to, the Larry way. See if you can do that. That's a hard thing to do, but I think it's definitely something that is feasible. And also, it's the same principle as what I tell my kids all the time. If you give, you shall receive. And so try to go out there and do what Larry would do, find that neighbor who needs a little extra help, go and do something for them and do something extra and spread that joy. All right. Thank you to all the listeners who have either been listening to us on the radio or on Facebook. And if you missed parts of the show today, you can always watch the full episode on my Facebook page or at rsvp65.com. You can also join us next week. We have an amazing guest, and you can contact me through my website, rsvp65.com. And you have been listening to the Jill Nelson Show, and we so appreciate you listening. We really do appreciate all your listening, all the listeners out there on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. For Gray Brendel, I am Jill Nelson. Until next week.